you can even watch back. Giving players all the props or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk facts.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
Play it on the car ride, play it when you lounge. X and O, you know that we can hold it down. Shout out to my man Sammy, got it off the ground. And to all the listeners tuned in right now, got debates, analysis, and speculation. This is sports talk for the new generation. You know where to find us, got a reputation. Sick Podcast, your #1 sports destination.
Giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
S-I-C-K, it's the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk back. S-I-C-K,
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 S-I-C-K.
All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
S-I-C-K, it's the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk facts.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
Play it on the car ride, play it when you lounge. X and O, you know that we can hold it down. Shout out to my man Sammy, got it off the ground. And to all the listeners tuned in right now, got debates, analysis, and speculation. This is sports talk for the new generation. You know where to find us, got a reputation. Sick Podcast, your #1 sports destination.
Giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
S-I-C-K, it's the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk back. S-I-C-K,
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 S-I-C-K.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to the Sick Podcast. The Eye Test with Pierre, McGuire, and Jimmy Murphy.
The Stanley Cup winning Colorado Avalanche. And after 22 years, Raymond
The sickest NHL podcast. It's gonna be sick.
And welcome to another edition of the Eye Test here in the Sick Podcast Network. He is Pierre McGuire. I am Jimmy Murphy. Pierre, I was talking to some people that know Stan Bowman. Apparently had a really boring day today.
Well,
Wow.
you know what's interesting? Think about Connor McDavid. If you're the general manager of the Edmonton Oilers and you have to negotiate with him and he says, you know what, I'm going to go 3 years, this year and 2 more, kind of like my coach, Chris Knobloch, who took a 3-year extension the other day. And I'm going to be in, the first year of Leon Draisaitl's 8-year contract, and in the 4th year of Darnell Nurse's 8-year contract, and in the first year of Evan Bouchard's 4-year contract. This is perfect. He's with all the guys he wants to be with. They have unfinished business there.
Yeah.
I think it's tremendous for him. It's great for the organization. He did what Tom Brady did in New England.
Yes.
He did exactly what Brady did. He took less to try to win.
Yeah. And for those who have maybe had a busy day and haven't seen the news, Connor McDavid did indeed finally sign his contract extension with the Edmonton Oilers, 2 years for $25 million with a cap hit of 12.5. And then just not even, it was about just over
Jake Wallman.
Jake Wallman, just about an hour later, gets locked up by the Edmonton Oilers with a 7-year, $49 million contract extension. So some great work there. And under the radar signing, but I'm just happy. He's a good guy. He's a UMass guy, Stanley Cup champion at that. Connor Sherry gets a contract out of his PTO with the New York Rangers for $775,000.
Yeah, because the guy that coaches the New York Rangers really likes Connor, and that's Mike Sullivan. So if Mike wants him, he stays. And exactly. I'm really happy for Connor. Connor, I think I broadcast one of his first games in Pittsburgh when he was breaking in. And, hey, hats off to him. To go, you ask Robbie Fabry, you ask any guys that go on a PTO to an NHL camp how hard it is to get work.
It is.
It's almost impossible.
And yesterday, a guy that we were shocked had to go the PTA route, Pierre. Matt Grzelcyk signs a 1-year deal with the Chicago Blackhawks.
Yeah, 1 year for $1 million.
For $1 million.
$1 million.
And Pierre, I know we have a lot of fantasy hockey people out there, and everybody's been doing their drafts. That would be, I think somebody last week was asking you about kind of under the radar guys. You put him on that power play there with the likes of Ryan Donato and Connor Bedard. He could be racking up some points.
No, unfortunately, I don't think he'll get power play time there because Lev Shunov's going to get a ton of power play time there. Sam Rinzel is going to get a lot of power play time there. So I don't see.
Okay.
It's not that he can't. Don't get me wrong. It's going to be hard for him to get that power play time.
Yeah. By the way, speaking of Rinzel, so we did our first annual Bruins Vibes, the new podcast I'm doing. We did a fantasy league pair. I got him with the second to last pick in the draft.
Well, probably because most of the people you're drafting against don't know who he is.
Right?
Which is unfortunate. You know what I did most of the weekend? I watched a ton of college hockey because the pro games weren't really, unless you were really into violence. So you were watching Florida and Tampa. I watched a ton of college hockey games, and there were some good ones and there were some not so good ones.
Mm-hmm.
And there were some guys who came in with a lot of expectation that maybe found out how hard college hockey is.
Yeah.
And I think some of the media guys that have been blowing a lot of hot air because they don't know how good college hockey is, they're going to have to backtrack a little bit on some of these guys.
Yeah.
So we'll see. But it was a big hockey weekend. Big hockey weekend.
I watched some of the games as well. Boston College on Friday night there. Being upset by Quinnipiac, a great one. You know what I didn't realize?
You say that's an upset.
Well,
I say it's not an upset because let me ask you a question.
Okay.
Because it's important.
Yep.
So let's just say you were Coach Brown at BC and you lost Ryan Leonard, you lost Gabe Perreault, you lost Jacob Fowler.
Mm-hmm.
3 guys who are all up for national awards over the last 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
How easy do you think it is to replace those guys?
Not easy at all. And
I wasn't surprised that Quinnipiac beat them. They're older. They're extremely well coached.
Mm-hmm.
They had They had a kid coming back, Silverstein, coming back to play in Boston, because that's where he's from, went to Nobles. or went to Dexter, excuse me. And then he's playing at BC. Like, there's a lot going on there.
Agreed. When I say upset, though, I'm referring to rankings and odds.
That's fair. That's fair. But that begs the question: how, when they do these odds, did they not factor in Fowler, Perreault, and Leonard?
Because, Pierre, as we just said, unfortunately, they don't look deeper into the storylines, right? They don't look deeper into the losses, the additions, the progress of players, whether it's a freshman or a sophomore that's matured over the years that a lot of these teams have. I'm with you. I mean,
I'm going to tell you right now.
Very throwing the darts. That's what it is.
So there's a player that I saw yesterday play for Providence. His name's Roger McQueen. He was a 10th overall pick last summer. He just turned 19. He's really good. He didn't do much. He didn't do much in the game, but if you're a scout and you're watching him, you know that kid's going to be good.
Right.
He's got a presence. He gets in the dirt on faceoffs, so he'll battle you. He definitely gets in front of the opposition net because he's big and strong. He's you would be shocked at how fluid a skater is for his size. So that's only going to be, multiplied times 5 by the time he's 23. You're like, where'd this guy come from? Mm-hmm. So you think about Anaheim. They got a big guy in Cutter Gauthier. They got a big guy in Leo Carlson. They got a huge guy in Roger McQueen. Like these guys, and I didn't even talk about Mason McTavish.
No.
Anaheim's going, man. I'm telling you.
Yep, we will get to them later because I have some predictions I want to run by. But quickly, we are going to run an interview in a few minutes here. We had the pleasure of interviewing Toronto Maple Leafs head coach Craig Berube. Big thanks to him for taking the time out of his day to do that. We had a great time with him. I really think everyone here is going to enjoy the interview. Quickly, though, one more thing on that Callis thing, Pierre, because it's funny it came up, and we always read each other's minds. I was listening to Elliot Friedman talking about the influx of junior players into college hockey and how, as you've stated in previous shows here, there might be a time where some of these players that came down from juniors might say, you know what, I misread this. This isn't for me, and maybe want to go back. My question to you is, it got me wondering, I couldn't find it anywhere. Is there a deadline for a junior player to change his mind and go back into junior hockey?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think so. There very well may be.
Okay.
I'm not aware of it.
I'm going to keep looking.
Yeah, I'm not aware of it, Jimmy. And I think some of that's already happened.
Oh, it does, right? Wasn't there
I don't want to get into names or anything. Yeah. I think some of that's happened, and I think more is going to happen.
Yeah.
The shocking thing for a lot of these players, they thought they were coming down here and it was going to be easy. Mm-hmm. And it's not.
No.
It's where they came from. The travel was probably harder, but the games were nowhere near as hard as what they are in Division I college hockey.
As men, and I urge everybody to check out another great interview we had with Coach Craig Carville of UMass Amherst on Friday in our on-campus Friday, and he was touching on that, just the differences that they're gonna find out about really soon. So, all right, couple more topics before we get to Berube right now, Pierre. Obviously, we have such a great Montreal listening population and viewing population, and I don't know about you, Pierre. You can disagree with me. I would have taken Florian Jackeye over Joe Veleno.
I agree.
Wow. Okay. I was surprised. I get it. Veleno's the more he's the veteran. He's a local guy. But I look at the camp that kid had and what he did for players when they were on the ice with him, as you kept saying, they feel bigger with him around.
No, but it doesn't mean that he'll be back up. He's going to be back up at some point. But he had a great camp. He opened up a lot of people's eyes, because he's not just a pugilist. He can play.
Yes, he can.
He can play.
Yep.
So I think the Canadiens, probably to their credit, said, you know what? The first 10 games aren't going to affect whether we have Florian Jackeye or not, whether we win or lose. Mm-hmm. Joe Veleno's got presence. He's been around. The guys like him. It's been good. It's going to bring some energy around our team. And probably after 10 to 12 games, we're going to have some injuries. And when we do,
that's when
Florian Jackeye is going to get a chance. I am not surprised at all that Oliver Kapanen made the team. I've been saying it forever. I'm not surprised at all on that.
Congratulations to him. All right, let's get to this wonderful interview we did today. It was really fun. I love the chemistry, by the way. You got the listeners and viewers will feel it between Pierre and Craig because they have a history there. But really enjoyed talking to him, and then we'll kind of break it down after we show you this right now. Here's Toronto Maple Leafs head coach Craig Berube. And as promised, here we are with the head coach of the Toronto Maple Leafs, Craig Berube, joining Pierre, McGuire, and me on the eye test here. Coach, how are you?
Good. How are you guys? Thanks for having me on.
Great. Our pleasure. Our pleasure, Coach. It's an exciting time of year. We're almost to the first puck drop. What is the atmosphere like around the team right now?
Yeah, good. I think we had a real good camp, some new faces here. So, a little different for everybody, but I think everybody really did a good job of getting to know each other. And I think, the camp was really good. Our practices were good. It was a tough camp for sure. So it's, obviously still, a work in progress.
One of those new faces, Easton Cowan of the London Knights. How's his camp been? I've watched all your games. I think he stood out in some of them. How's it been?
Yeah, I think he's taken on a different mindset than, coming from junior and how he played there. He's obviously a great player in junior, offensive player. We asked him to just change his role a little bit here. And he's done that. I think he's played a more direct North game. We love the motor on him and the hound mentality he has. And obviously he has a skill set to do things with the puck and make some plays and score some goals. So I've been impressed with him at camp. I think he's done a real good job of coming in and simplifying his game.
Coach, when you have a kid like that coming in and he's kind of on the border of making the team, how do you handle it with him in terms of just saying, look, be yourself, but at the same time as you were just saying, we need you to do this as well? How do you find that balance with them?
Yeah, no, it's a balance, but he knew that coming in. I think conversations over the summer, and he knew that it was almost going back to when he broke into junior, the same mindset he had, He's a worker, and he's got to be a worker. He's got to be that hounder type player and manage the game. I think in junior, these guys, they're playing a lot of minutes. They're doing things that you can't do in the NHL right away. And I think he's done a good job of that. Like, that's not always easy to do for a kid, after what he's done in junior, but he's done a good job of it.
In 2019, I had the privilege of doing every single one of your playoff games in St. Louis when we won the Cup. I thought it was one of the best coaching jobs I've seen in my career. And at that point, it was over 30 years in the league. What was the magic to what you guys were doing as a staff that year in St. Louis?
Well, I appreciate the comment, Pierre. That means a lot. I think we dumbed the game down a bit. I thought that I felt there was a little, disconnected in our room a little bit, disconnected on the ice of what we wanted to be and how we wanted to play. And I think, got that room straightened out and kind of formed a straightforward game with everybody. And we all got on the same page, and that's what it's all about. And I think, we were a team that year. We weren't depending on two or three guys. From an offensive standpoint, it was like everybody looked the same out there. Everybody played the same way. Mm-hmm. And, that's how we had success. And, for me, it was like we managed the blue lines really well. We didn't turn pucks over. We put pucks deep and we worked. We're a hardworking team. And, all four lines and 6 deep played the same way.
Just to follow up on that, Coach, when you come into Toronto, how much have you tried to sort of implement the same mindset, and where do you think the team is in terms of buying in and being able to do that on a regular basis?
Yeah, I thought they did a good job last year. I really did. There's some highly talented players here, as we know, but they were good about it, and I thought that I was really happy with our game last year. We did a good job of that, and the players did a real good job of the buy-in. We checked well. We didn't force things. We played pretty direct. We didn't get the job done, obviously, but, we made some real good strides in that area.
When your general manager, Brad Treliving, at the end of the year says, we want to change a little bit of the DNA of the franchise, What does that mean? I think I know what it means, but what does it mean? Tell our listeners and viewers.
Yeah. Well, I think just, personnel wise, we added a couple guys, Joshua and Wah, big guys. We wanted to get a little heavier, a little bigger, a little stronger. This division's tough. You're going through some real good teams that have some, size and strength, and they're hard to play against. And I think that's what he meant. We wanted to get a little bigger, a little stronger. We wanted to get a little heavier. It's hard to win in the playoffs without that element on your team.
Yeah. Another new guy you guys brought in is Michelli there. Do you, when you look at him, do you see maybe some untapped offense there that you guys are going to try and bring out?
Well, definitely, and we're going to give him that opportunity. He's a very good playmaker, sees the ice well. That's his game. But at the same time, he needs to do the right things with the puck too. We don't want him forcing things all over the place. But he has the ability to make plays, and I think you'll see that on a power play. And we're going to put him with some good players and see what comes of it.
Pat Quinn, when he coached all over the National Hockey League, cut a wide swath through every dressing room. I don't know if there are too many coaches tougher than Craig Berube cutting a swath through a dressing room. And I say that out of respect. When you were playing, I was coaching. And I saw some of the mayhem that you could inflict in a game. How intense are you in a locker room environment?
Yeah, and I am intense at times, depending on the game and what's going on. But I'm always intense, I would say that, but especially on a game day. But there's times that you got to go after your team and you got to let them know what's going on and what they got to do better. And there's, I think you got to feel the room out of times. There's times you got to, you got to be there for your players too. They're fighting hard, they're doing things, but it's not working out. So you gotta help them. You gotta, it's like you gotta mentor them all the time. Whether it's from, an individual player or the team. They go through hard times too, and they want to do well, and it's not going well all the time. So you got to pull back a little bit and help them out. But then there's times they need a kick in the ass, so you give them a kick in the ass. So I think it's just a feel out process. That's the coach's job.
Hey, Jimmy, before you go there, I just wanted to say one thing. I don't think there were too many more feared teams. And when Craig broke in with Philadelphia, when you talk about Tocchet and Brown and Stanley and Berube and Zezel, and think about that for 1 second. What would happen in the league today if all those guys were together on one team?
Well, the other team might be have some fear in their eyes, but I was lucky to break in with all those guys and learn from them and be on a team like that. That was they were great teams and great guys to be around. That's the Flyers. That was their mindset back then. It's been like that for a long time. I get the game's changed a lot, but Flyer hockey is Flyer hockey, right? And there's a certain way that they played it. And we had Mike Keenan as our coach, and he was very good at motivating us and getting us going in the right direction. As he had some. I like Mike a lot. He gave me my opportunity to play in the league, so I always owe him that. And he helped me out along the way. And it's not always easy because he is hard on you, and he does some crazy things at times, but it's all to help you as a player.
Do you see a little of him in your coaching mentality and approach? And also, are there any other former coaches you had or people you've worked with along the way?
Well, I'm not Mike, and I would never want to be Mike because that's not me. I think a coach has got to be himself. Now, there is coaches that you've, played for, and I played for a number of them, that there's always things that come up. And I remember what the coach did at that time when I was playing for him. So I always kind of use some of the things that I've learned from different coaches over the years. I had Hitch in junior, I had Hitch in pro. I worked with Hitch. There's a lot of guys that I've been around, very good coaches over the years that I've learned a lot from, that I take with me and still use to this day.
Jimmy, I got to share this with you because transparency matters on this show. I remember when the coach was involved in a pretty significant trade between Toronto and Calgary.
Yeah,
And I think he remembers it too.
I do.
You were one of the first guys on the ice after that trade happened.
Well, and that was upsetting because I really like Toronto. I like the direction my game was going. I played on a line with Krushelnyski and Foligno, and those two guys really helped me out and helped my career out. Great guys, and we were a good line. And I was like, my game was developing in the right way, I thought, and I really enjoyed Toronto a lot. I love playing here, and I was upset at the time, but that's the way the game goes. I went to Calgary, and I got an opportunity to play there with a bunch of great players and great guys. So it all works out. But that's the way it goes in this game. You can't control that stuff, and you got to deal with it.
What I want your players to know, because I think a bunch of them will watch this. I was an assistant coach in Pittsburgh, and that's probably the first game that he played when he was a member of the Calgary Flames, was against Pittsburgh. And I'm in the rink, in the Saddle Dome, breaking down tapes. I'm hearing pucks zinging off the glass, and I go outside. And it's the coach by himself actually training.
I was working on my shot.
He had just been traded to Calgary in a massive deal, and he's like the first guy on the ice. I thought that was so cool.
Yeah.
It gave me a whole other perspective of the way you carried yourself as a pro. It really did.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Coach, before we let you go, just any health updates specifically on Joseph Woll and where the goaltending situation is at right now?
Yeah, well, Stolars and Hildeby are here. Reimer's here, of course, too. He hadn't had much time. We got him in a little bit of the last game, but he's not been active, so he needs work. Wool's doing well. It's just a personal thing, so I don't have a lot to comment on that. But Stolars and Hildeby, I was happy with Hildeby's camp. I thought that he took what we talked to him about in the off season and worked on things, and he's had a good camp, which is great. He's got a great future, in my opinion, with his size and how he carries himself.
Subtly, you guys made one change. Lane Lambert moved on to Seattle, and you bring in Derek Lalonde as the assistant coach. Will that change any of the roles amongst the assistant coaches on your team?
Yeah, not a ton. I think Newsy's been around. He's done a great job as assistant coach. He's been a head coach, and he's going to take on a lot of the stuff that Lane did last year for us. And we wish Lane all the best. I loved working with him. I learned a lot from him, and really looking forward to him having a good season in Seattle. So we wish Lane all the best.
Thanks, Coach. Really appreciate you doing this. Can't wait to see you this season. Thank you.
You got it. Thanks, guys.
All right.
Thanks for having me on.
Awesome.
Maple Leafs head coach Craig Berube joining us here on the ITIS. Good stuff, huh, Pierre?
That's a real winner. Like, that guy's a winner, man. Mm-hmm. He just knows how to compete. He cares.
Yep.
He pushes his players. He's not a newfangled coach. It's not about the gel in his hair or the fancy suit that he wears. He doesn't care if his tie is crooked. He coaches. He's a coach.
Yeah.
He's a winning.
On that note, what I liked when I asked him about Michelli, and he credited him about his skills, and yes, we hope he can reach his potential offensively, but we're a little more concerned with him playing a two-way game and really getting in the grind, getting in the mush. And I like that. It doesn't matter who you are to Craig Berube, like what your status is as a talented player or a grinder. We all got to be pulling in the same way. And I thought that stood out to me a lot.
I'm convinced that had they not had the injury to their goaltender Stolars last year, they would have won the Stanley Cup. I'm convinced of that. That being said, I don't know why they can't win it this year.
Yeah.
I really don't. Now people say, oh, the 102 points that Marner had. True. I'll cede you that. But Austin Matthews was hurt most of last year. What happens if Austin Matthews pops 55 to 60 points? Or goals, 55 to 60 goals.
Yeah.
Those 102 points go away pretty quick. I think it's going to be a phenomenal year in the league. I think Toronto's one of the favorites. I know the bookies don't have them there, but I think they'll be one of the favorites to win the Cup.
And by the way, I asked him about the goaltending situation, and apparently, as I was asking him that, they claim Caden Primo off waivers, by the way.
Well, how about Toronto today? So you don't think they listen to their coach? They went and got Dakota Joshua. They got Nick Raw in the summer. They go out and get Caden Primo. there's a lot of relation there between Berube and Primo's father from the Philadelphia tie-in. And then he brings in Sammy Blais, one of his favorite players in St. Louis. So they did a lot of deep digging in Toronto to make their team better. And those are very digestible numbers on the cap. And the one thing I would say is Mark Leach was hired last year. Nobody's going to tell you this. Mark Leach was hired last year. He comes from the Dallas Stars organization. He lives in Boston. He's their chief amateur scout.
Yep.
He watched Primo all the time at Northeastern, all the time.
Yeah. Mark's
so it's insider all the way. I mean,
Yep.
they know both sides of everything on that. So if they think Primo can do it, it's because their amateur scouts paid attention to him.
Yeah, and so I've got some people who are watching right now trying to figure out, is that live or did you guys we pre-recorded the interview, but we right now as we speak, we're live.
We're live. We live.
And speaking of, that means we can do our wonderful Q&A, Pierre. So let's get right to our sponsors so we can get over to our wonderful viewers with their lineup of questions. Listen, really excited, as we said, to have Vago on this year on the eye test. They do a great job up in Montreal. They've been there forever, 23 years. I mean, that's a lot. I mean, most restaurants today, unfortunately, Pierre, the way the business goes, you're talking 10 years max if you're lucky. It's just the way the biz. But when you can last that long, it obviously says something not just about the quality of your food, but about the quality of the people that work there. So go over there right now to Vago. They combine old world classics and new Italian dishes. As I said, for over 23 years, private dining rooms for any occasion. They're open Monday to Saturday evenings and lunch from Tuesday to Friday. They're located 1336 Green Avenue in the Westmount neighborhood of Montreal. For reservations, call 514-846-1414. Again, that's 514-846-1414. And of course, our wonderful sponsors over at Betway. You can still go there right now if you sign up for a new account with the QR code right in front of you or in the details section on the website. Go over there right now, create your new account, and you can get up to $200 back on your first bet, even if you lose. But I hope you win, and you don't need that. And you must be 18 plus. Terms and conditions apply. Always bet responsibly, and this offer is not available in Ontario. Pierre, what we're going to do, I know we're talking off air kind of about our forecast and predictions for the season. Let's get to that tomorrow. We'll do it right as the first game is starting, because Chicago is on at 4:00, right? Blackhawks.
No, I think it's a 5:00 start.
Okay, 5:00. Oh, you know what? I was looking at the Chicago 4 Central. Yeah. So yeah, that's that. The games are starting up. They get a triple header tomorrow to kick off the season. So we will give you our predictions for that. Let's get to the Q&A right now. Sammy Omanen. I hope I pronounced your last name correctly. A best pod in hockey. Keep it rolling. Thank you, Sammy. We appreciate it. Never a true top pairing D-man, but has simplified and improved his game in Philly. If healthy, which contender should trade for Ristolainen at the deadline, Dallas or Edmonton? I've always liked Ristolainen as well.
So first of all, Sammy, thank you. I totally agree with what you're saying, by the way, on Rasmus Ristolainen. I'll tell you a team that should get him, because I think they got a legitimate chance to get to the Stanley Cup final, the Vegas Golden Knights. If they don't have Alex Pietrangelo, and you don't know, he says he wants to come back, but if he doesn't, that's $8.8 million that's available on LTIR.
Yeah.
I would try to get him there.
All right. I like that call. Next question. Simo Hockey Training. Pierre, do you think Ilya Mikheyev would be a solid pickup for a playoff team come the deadline? He's a great PK guy, speed and sneaky depth scoring. $4.75 million cap hit. The Hawks retain a bit. What do you think? Maybe the Oilers.
Had I stayed in Ottawa, he was somebody that I was part of our pro scouting staff targeting him because he was in Toronto at the time. And it's precisely why we wanted to get him. He has size. He could skate. And he was on that team in Ottawa. He would have been a great bottom six forward. And, we were just thinking, well, what happens if he plays on the wing with Shane Pinto? Mm-hmm. That's just, and then you just put somebody else in there. And at that time, we still had Mark Kastelik. So there were a lot of different things we were thinking about, but he was a guy that I always liked a lot. It had to be the right role. He wasn't a top six guy, and he wasn't a pure offensive guy, but he's a guy that could do a lot for you to help you win. He was an eye test player, and he is an eye test player.
Yep. Good question. Let's go to the next question. What do we got? John Smith, good day, gents. Jake Wallman, 7x7. Am I missing something, or is this an overpay?
It's the market, unfortunately.
It's the market.
I mean, good for Jake, but it's the market. You're not missing anything. It's the market.
Yep.
And people in Montreal don't want to hear this. I'm just telling you, there's a reason why Noah Dobson was available. You think the Islanders are a finished product? No. There's a reason why he was available. They didn't want to pay him the money that he was looking for.
Yeah. I want to say, too,
the market.
Yeah. Before we go to the next question, too, I see Chris Nosek over there saying Chris Nosek told me, don't worry, Jimmy, DiPietro will not be claimed. And as they took Caden Primo over him. I was told that Toronto had interest there, but they go with Caden Primo over DiPietro, who will stay in the Bruins organization. Chris, you were right. I'm not afraid to say when I'm wrong.
What else did you hear from anybody? Did anybody call you today?
No, not
your partner.
No, somebody else called me. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. But that's for off air. All right, next question. Juice, Pierre, thoughts on Michael Hage's performance?
Juice, we love having you be part of the show. And this is not a knock on Michael Hayes. You can only play against the teams that they put you up against. That's not a real test.
Mm-hmm.
When you almost outscore a team in a 2-game series 20-1, it was almost that. It was 18-1.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see when they play Michigan State, Wisconsin, Minnesota. Next week, they're at Providence. Okay.
Yeah.
I want to watch Roger McQueen against Michael Hayes, and I'll give you a report at the end because I will be watching.
Yep. What is that, a Friday game, Pierre? I'll look it up after.
They play 2. Both games are almost sold out.
Well, I'm going to have to call our friend Nate Lehman and see if he can get me in.
You can get in.
All right. We're going to have to go down there.
You will be able to get in.
5-minute walk from where I am right now. All right.
You will be able to get in.
What do we got? Hendricks that can play, bro. If Pittsburgh has a bad start and Crosby becomes available and they ask for Michael Hayes, do you do the trade?
I would.
Florian
Jackey's coming up through your ranks. You got Oliver Kapanen that's there right now. You just signed Jake Evans to a long deal. Nick Suzuki's not going anywhere. I would.
Not moving Lane Hudson.
It's not Demidov's a star.
Yep.
That's not a knock on Michael Hayes. Michael Hayes is a really good player.
Yeah. Michael Hayes is a great player.
Do you think he's got the street cred of Sidney Crosby?
No. All right, next question. Ethan Russell, what's up, Ethan? Do a lot of NHL coaches want to meet with Pecknold and talk about the neutral zone trap that Quinnipiac runs? I've never seen a team do it better. Props to Rand. Any plans for him to be on the pod? We've had him on.
We've had him on, and we will have him on again. Yep. Number one. Number two, while his neutral zone play is good, his penalty killing is better. I know they gave up a power play goal yesterday to Providence, but the NHL teams and coaches do talk to him more about his penalty killing than his neutral zone game. But that's a good point. He talks to some NHL coaches and he runs clinics on his penalty killing 100%.
I didn't realize either, Pierre, that was it Mason? Yeah, Mason retiring. Rand is now the current active leading wins holder amongst college hockey coaches. I did not realize.
Oh, active. Yes.
Active. Yes. I think he's like 7th overall. All right. Next question.
He's got a ways to go to beat some of the guys that are ahead.
Oh, yeah. But I'll give him credit for that.
Yeah.
Big Bill, Pierre and Jimmy. The NHL said they were reviewing the Florida-Tampa Bay game from Saturday. Do you think the NHL are pumping their fists from the violence that will boost ratings versus no violence? Any actions? Can I just answer quickly to this, Pierre?
Yeah.
Yes. I think this goes back to what we saw in the opening of the Four Nations game in Montreal, USA, Canada. They saw what that did with the ratings. I've been trying to hold back, but Pierre, I really think there's a parallel there. I think they think it sells, and they're trying to find a balance where it doesn't get too much out of hand, but yet they'll let it happen.
The biggest unreported story about the ratings of the Four Nations, the first time in history they combined the Canadian number with the U.S. number.
Mm-hmm.
Never forget that.
But why the radio silence, Pierre? Why just fines? Why aren't we seeing suspensions?
Because it's preseason and players aren't getting paid.
Yeah.
It's like it bothered me to watch that.
It really did.
Nobody likes hard hockey more than me. I played that way. I tried to coach that way. I never disrespected the game or was a cheap shot artist, and I never tried to coach that way.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't like what I saw from both teams. I've told you forever,
And Ottawa.
Florida has an identity, and they want to create a street fight environment every single time.
Yeah.
They do.
And that's what Tampa's trying to counter.
And Tampa's just, you know what? Like, we remember the last couple of years in the playoffs, and you guys took liberties with us. And, Hagel had a big hit last year. People forget. Again, I think it was Ekblad last year that he got him. And so, yeah, no, there's bad blood there. I just didn't like it in a preseason game. I don't think it's appropriate.
Thanks, Ethan, right there. Ethan Russell giving us $9.99 for the Vago tip jar. Appreciate it, my friend. Next question. Gabriel Lamb, is Florida versus Tampa this generation's Canadians versus Nordiques or Red Wings versus Avalanche?
Yeah, that's great by Gabriel. I think
I like
there's
the
a lot of merit to that.
Yeah.
A lot of merit to that. Calgary, Edmonton, still not a real nice thing. Vancouver, Edmonton this year, I don't think is going to be very nice.
What about Ottawa, Montreal?
Ottawa, Montreal is very nasty. Look at the preseason game in Quebec City. Vegas, San Jose for years and I know San Jose is not as relevant right now, but San Jose deserves credit. They're getting better all the time. They are. Yeah. They're getting better all the time. So they're on the right path. There for years, that was so nasty. Vegas and San Jose was really. I did it. Mr. Foley doesn't care. It was on the air. I'm doing an interview with Mr. Foley, the owner in Vegas, and he goes, I just hate San Jose. They're terrible. They're the worst people. I'm like, you're an owner in the league. And he's calling the guy out, the ownership out, and he's calling the team out. It was unbelievable.
Yeah. Love it. All right. Next question. Renaissance Resistor. How worried should national teams be about the uptick in physical play, National Hockey League teams, and potential injuries heading into the Olympics?
Very. Very. And everybody, you know what? I love when Renaissance Resistor always asks really poignant questions. I really appreciate them. They're well thought out. Here's something that is not getting enough attention either. These games aren't being played on big ice in Milan. They're being played on NHL ice, 200 by 85. That's going to lead to a lot of collisions. And there's going to be a carryover from the Four Nations event. In my opinion, Jimmy, I think there'll be a carryover.
Yeah. All right. Next question. Energized. Who would you guys take to have a better season, Jack Hughes or Tim Stützle? Timmy, a 100-point player this season in my book.
I would take Timmy because he's playing with Brady. Brady.
The only thing knows Jack is his health. I just.
Yeah, no, that's fair. But New Jersey doesn't have anybody like Brady.
No,
they don't.
Yeah.
They got good players. Trust me. I think the world of Fitzy in their team, but they don't have any players like Brady.
Yeah. All right. Next question. David Robinson. What's up, Dave? For Pierre, how did the clutch and grab era evolve? Was it incremental, or were there decisions by the refs in a league to go in that direction?
No, it started, believe it or not, it started in college. We used to practice it. A lot of college coaches are guilty of this. It happened in the 1980s. Lake Superior had a lot of success back in those days. They had a coach by the name of Frank Anzalone, and Frank was a really good coach. Won a national championship in 1988 in Lake Placid, and he became the big ticket item. Everybody in the NHL was approaching him to be hired. And coaches started to say, why are they going to get this guy from, the northern part of Michigan to coach pro hockey? And eventually Toronto Maple Leafs hired this guy, Jimmy. They did, and they had him run their farm team. And so it started there. And then Jacques Lemaire, who really was a defensive guy, remember the red line was still in. So Jacques created the 1-2-2. It was always in play, but it got a fancy name, the 1-2-2. And it ended up being called the trap. And so because there was no red line, the red line was in play, it made it easier to do. And so it was like tackle football on ice. But it all started, I'm convinced, with colleges back in the day, because they took the red line out first in college. So coaches had to slow the game down. And Frank Anzalone did it as well or better than anybody at Lake Superior. And he got rewarded with a national championship. And NHL people paid attention. They really did.
Interesting. The whole college staff. I never thought about that with the college influence there. That's great.
We were the first league to take the red line out. I was playing when the red line came out. Yeah.
All right. Great stuff. All right. Next question. TG. Pierre, we hear about coaches that aren't successful because they're too intense. Were there any coaches that weren't successful because they were too laid back and didn't bring enough energy to the room?
Yeah, I don't want to name them,
Yeah.
but the answer is yes. And they'd be too friendly with their players, and the players would run roughshod, and the managers would see that, or the owner would see that, and they would lose key games because maybe a turnover, maybe a guy didn't want to win a race to make a play, maybe a guy didn't want to block a shot. And yeah, so I don't want to rain on guys' parades because anybody that's coached in that league deserves a ton of respect. It's a hard league. And anybody that gets a paycheck out of that league deserves a huge amount of respect. So I'll never say anything negative about them, but there are a bunch of guys that were too nice.
Just
Too
quickly
nice.
on that note, Pierre, you had to do this in your coaching career. Go from an assist, but not with the same team. So it's not.
Oh yeah, no, I did. Head to
Assistant
assistant
head?
head. Yeah. Mhm.
Okay. How hard is that in terms of everything we're just talking about right now? And I'm not knocking you or any other coach. I'm just saying
No.
you've got the players have a different view of you as an assistant, and then all of a sudden you're asking to be like, I'm the head guy now. You got to look at me this way. How do you find that?
First of all, I didn't really worry about that. We had to change the culture. So you come in swinging from the hip quick
Okay.
because you got to change the culture because the culture hasn't been good for a while. So you try to do that and you implement standards, and some guys thrived in it, some guys didn't, and that's just how it was. But yeah, no, it's not easy to do. That's a hard thing to do, but you got to, and you don't sleep very well at night. You know, a lot of nights I slept in my office. I didn't feel good. I just would sleep there. I wanted the best for every player there, but they thought you were against them because you're trying to change the culture. They went from having a lot of fun to maybe it's not so much fun. You know, I was coming from a different place. I was coming from a place where everything was kind of set.
Yep.
So I was expecting to try to implement some of that ideology, and it's not that easy to do.
You know who not just he's in the process of succeeding is Huska. I mean, he went from assistant and now he gets that extension.
Big fan of Ryan. First time I met him, he was an assistant coach to Mark Habscheid in Kelowna. They used to have me come in and run practices there. Shea Weber was there at the time. Blake Como was there at the time. They had good players. They had a good team there. And I loved it. But I saw Ryan Huska on the ice. I was with him, and you knew right then he was going to be a good coach. I didn't know if it was going to materialize for the NHL, but he was going to be a really good coach. You just knew it when you were around him.
All right, next question. Juice again. Who will be the captain of Team Finland at the Olympics now that Barkov is out?
What a good question. I don't know the answer to that. I mean, there's would Mikko Rantanen be that guy? I mean, I don't know. It's hard. The whole thing with Barkov is sad. It's really sad.
Yeah. Did you see the clip of him at the Miami Heat practice and the respect they showed him?
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty cool.
Very cool.
He's not basketball. It's cross sports. But they knew him. They knew how much he means. I thought that said a lot about
Very cool. Very, very cool.
By the way, Chris Noshik letting us know just now James Reimer released from PTO. I figured as much with them getting.
Yeah, like you heard Craig Berube kind of say, look, he hasn't played in a while in our interview. And Craig was being a good soldier there because he knew everything. And obviously he's working for the organization. He's not working for us.
Yeah.
So he's not going to leak that out. And I respect him for that. Respect him a lot for it.
All right, next question. Ethan Russell, how does the pasta affect the Bruins in 3 to 4 years where they could possibly be contenders? That contract looks like gold from a management standpoint. Props to Don on that. Yeah,
you're the Boston guy. You tell us, Jimmy.
Yeah, I mean, the way things are going now, it's definitely going to be looked at as a steal a couple of years from now. But with all due, and I think Don's done a great job. But with all due respect, he knew at the time when he signed that this is where things are going, and it would be a steal. So
my question to you is, who's their number one center going forward?
Yeah. Exactly. And that's what we discussed. By the way, our first Bruins Vibes podcast will go tomorrow with our preseason show, and then we'll be live after the game Wednesday. Brendan sent it to me, and Pierre, that's what we discussed there. He said, look, Potts is going to be great, but who's feeding him? Who's giving him the puck? If you go back and watch a lot of games last year, Pasta was almost creating his own feeds and creating his own plays. I mean, he was doing everything. And how much can one guy do that as the year goes on? So
Well, what's going to happen this year? I can tell you.
he's going to get targeted.
Every time you go into Boston or Boston comes in your place, you just circle the number and say he doesn't touch the puck tonight, and if he does, he pays a price.
Yep.
It's pretty simple, and if he doesn't get points, you don't lose.
Pierre didn't even see what you're going to see tomorrow on Bruins Vibes, and I said the same thing to my co-host Brendan Sennett because Pierre taught me that way back. All right, next question. Andrew McGinnis. Hey, what's up, Andy? How long do you guys think a line combo should stay together before it gets changed? I'm a fan of the coach giving it time before changing, but also you don't want guys together if it's not working. That's a great question. How do you find that?
Andrew, I'd give it a little bit more time. And I'm from the Bowman School of Higher Learning in hockey. Usually it's tandems. You want to see more together than threesomes.
Yep.
It's easier to break two guys in than three. But if you have a line that you think can work and it's just taking its time, leave it there a little bit longer. Once it doesn't work, for maybe 5 to 7 games and you have a bunch of practices in between, then maybe you say, hey, we got to change a couple things up.
Yeah. All right. Next question. John Smith, how involved would the Habs be in the development of a player, say Michael Hage, at this point in his career? Do they check in on his diet, his workout habits? Besides that, I love watching him.
100%, John. So they have player development coaches that stay in touch with these players all the time. I think Paul Byron's one of those guys from Montreal. And so if you're doing your job as a pro development guy, you are staying in touch with the strength and conditioning people at Michigan. You're sending notes to the player or texts to the player. You're monitoring their body weight through the people at Michigan. That's just one example, but the answer is yes, 100%. If you're a thorough organization, you're in touch all the time. Yeah.
All right. Next question. Hendricks that can play, bro. Pierre, when you were in the minors, when did the making the NHL dream become something you really believed was possible? And what advice would you give young players?
Never quit on yourself. Never quit on your dream. Stay as hard on it as you can. I'm going through it right now with my son. He's the happiest kid in the world. He's getting paid to play hockey. And I just tell him every day you're at a certain level, you just keep kicking the door. Don't let them shut it on you. And if they do shut it on you, you work hard to get back inside the door.
Yep.
But yeah, no, you can't quit on yourself. If you do, and that's usually when trouble happens, then it's not going to work. But you got to believe in yourself.
All right, next question. Ethan Russell, have you liked Minton so far this camp and preseason? Yes. Love him, Ethan. Pierre, I know we talked about it last year, but where could you see him by the end of the season? Hopefully he can own that 3C spot.
He's going to own that, and I think eventually he's going to be a real good 2. Yeah. I really do. No, his hockey sense is exquisite. He didn't look intimidated at all when he had a chance to play in Toronto last year. He's a very good player. Fraser's a really good player.
All right, next question. Gabriel Lamb, do you think that Penn State hockey has a chance to win it all rather than their football team? Yeah, football team lost again.
Penn State's got a chance. We'll see. I know they're ranked pretty high right now, but Arizona State maybe was ranked a little too high. They're going through a little roster upheaval too. They lost some players from last year, a bunch of them.
And we would say that the Big Ten has become the Hockey East of last year, right?
Yeah, the Big Ten is going to be tough. Minnesota's going to be tough. Wisconsin's going to be tough. Michigan State's going to be – Ohio State's always tough whenever you go in there. Michigan is obviously really good. So the Big Ten's going to be tough. Minnesota got upset their second game this year.
I know.
That was shocking. Yeah, but no, it's good. We'll see. We'll see with Penn State. We'll see. Let's get to December and we'll have a better idea.
All right. Next question. Is that? Oh, no, we get more. Ethan Russell, could you possibly talk about the Bruins players who got sent down and why? Lots of people on social media are very mad that they didn't keep some players in the NHL. One of those, Pierre, is Blumel, who they picked up from Dallas off free agency over the summer. And as you and I were texting before, they overhyped him. Like, it's okay to me that he's going down. I don't think that's the end of him. I think he'll work his way back up and he'll break in when there's injuries. But, like, you literally had people within your organization saying, this guy's going to come in and help us improve our offense right away. We really believe that.
We've talked about this so much away from the show. It's you got to manage expectation. Don't hang the kid out to dry. I don't know why teams we never did this. I'm just telling you, we never did.
I think we said it, Pierre. It's the advent of social media. That's ruining everything. I don't know, man. And look, I feel bad for the kid.
Who are some of the other players that they're mad at that got sent down?
It was just him and DiPietro.
Well, yeah, no.
But they didn't have a chance. They didn't have a choice. They're not. What are they going to do with Korpisalo, right?
They can't. So it's like you go into a glass store. When you break the glass, you own the glass. Mm-hmm. When you got Korpisalo, you owned them.
Exactly. Yep. All right. Next question. Juice, the Canadians and Senators have always been rivals with how he. Oh, and before we go on to, I think people are upset about Lysell too, but he didn't have a good camp. It is what it is. So
we talked about that 2 weeks ago.
Yeah,
he was struggling.
Yep. I hope the kid finds his way, whether it's with the Bruins or another team, but right now it's not there. All right, the Canadians and Senators have always been rivals with how heated the rivalry is getting lately. Just how intense would a playoff series be between them? I would love it.
That'd be good.
Bring it on. And the proximity is great. I love when teams are like that. It's like Hartford and the Bruins or Quebec and the Canadians. All right.
That'd be good.
What do we got? Ethan Russell again. I forgot to add to my question before. If I was trying to work up the ranks of coaching, what would be a good step to take? I coach high school in New Hampshire, but I want to eventually coach college. It's a big dream.
It's a great dream. I coached college for 6 years and loved every single day I went to work. I had a blast. Talk to so many college coaches every day. I have a blast doing that. Start applying to jobs in your area. You know, if you're able to move, you're not married, you don't have kids, put your resume out to everybody. Go to the coaches convention down in Florida every year. That's one place to go. Go watch your local college team play and try to become friends with the coaches. Go watch them practice. But if you can get in, it'd be great. I can tell you, I did it for 6 years in college, and I loved every day I went to work. I never had a bad day, ever.
Yeah. And one thing I'll say, too, to Ethan, Pierre, that I find is, just because it's pro versus college, a lot of college coaches are more accessible in that respect than, say, a pro coach.
Oh,
so
yeah.
Like Pierre's saying, go to the practices. You're going to be the only one there. So,
They'll say, hey, who are you? And you say, I'm just a fan. I want to talk to you.
I just want to learn. That's all. Yeah, go right up to them.
They will not have a problem with that.
They usually love it because that's why they're coaches. They want to teach.
I agree. Good point, Jimmy.
All right, next question. David Robinson. Jimmy and I have a mutual friend, Jeff, who's struggling these days. Jeff and I used to sit around. Yeah, we do. Jeff and I used to sit around and laugh in astonishment at Gretzky and Mario's stats. Anyone ever make Pierre laugh in astonishment?
Anyone ever make me laugh in terms of what?
That guy's so good. Like you laugh because he's just so good. I guess it would be you got to.
Yeah, Yarmer. You'd be like, are you kidding me, man? Oh, geez. I used to be on the ice with him at the end of practice and just marvel. I'd be like, this guy's crazy how good he is. He was 18 and 19 years old.
It's insane.
Yarmer's still playing. He's still playing. Oh,
that's great. They got to give him that one day preseason game.
He's almost 50. He's almost 56 years old.
Yeah.
So the last time I saw him was at Mario's fantasy camp, and I said to him, Yarmer, like you can't get into the Hockey Hall of Fame till you're retired and you've been out for 3 years. Well, I did not know that.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm telling you.
That's amazing. And what a guy, too. What a guy to talk to.
He's funny. He's funny.
He is,
I never saw a guy eat more Kit Kats in my life. You'd go into New Jersey and, back in the day, you'd stay in the Meadowlands like you were in the swamp.
Yep.
And there was a little convenience store not far from our hotel. And, the coach would be going out for dinner. We'd be in a taxi or whatever. And we'd see Yarmer walking up the street by himself, munching on a massive Kit Kat. He'd be laughing. Unbelievable.
That's great stuff. Well, that's it for our questions today. We appreciate you all taking the time to ask. Always great questions. Big thanks to Toronto Maple Leafs head coach Craig Berube for joining us here. That was a pleasure, and I appreciate the text he sent me after. Big thanks to Shane working the boards up in Montreal, and thanks to everyone listening, watching. I want to remind everybody, as I said, the first Bruins vibes for all you Bruins fans out there. The first one will be dropping tomorrow at noon. We'll tee up the season, and then we will be live after the Bruins game on Wednesday night and Thursday night here on the Sick Podcast Network. But, of course, before every one of those, you can find Pierre and me here 4 to 5 p.m. live on the eye test on the Sick Podcast Network. We will talk to you tomorrow. It's like Christmas Eve right now. We'll see you on Christmas morning. Have a good one.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Eye Test with Pierre McGuire and Jimmy Murphy on YouTube, Facebook, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts.